Hello, my fellow Borborygmus Bubbles, I'm Mr. Church. Today we're going to be building in the Skyline Valley a new location near the old Cremora mines. Now, I just recently made a 30 new camp locations in the Skyline Valley video. If you want to check it out, I'll link it in the description. But I actually missed this spot, and I didn't see it at all. I didn't see this guy up here. There's an Ooga that spawns statically. But I saw this spot in a video by Fallout McFly, which I'll also link in the description to check out if you'd like to. This place comes with a silver deposit and one of the coolest caves I've ever seen in this game. The reason why it's cool is because the ground in there is flat and there's no stupid shit in there. If you have a deposit, you'll have the corresponding extractor to place in it. I'm going to put it in there but not power it up to make it give it this abandoned mine feel to it. And then I put the clear weather machine so I can actually see one single thing that's going on. So I spent about 4 weeks lining this foundation up, front to back, and back to front. Now, I already know your mom knows about that, but I promise not to say anything more. This is red until I get really close to it for some reason. If that is happening, just scream a bunch and say words that you just learned not too long ago. That's what I did. Anyway, you'll be able to put 4 in the front and 2 in the back, kind of like your teeth. But it's going to be fine. We'll figure that out later. I'm going to place 3 out here for a porch, and then the rest of it is going to be recessed into the rock face. 1 wall here. After about 20 minutes of thought, do I want to place this down? I do want to place this down. This is called a plank partition, and this is called a junk fence. I don't need you to worry about why they're called different things like that. One of them looks to me like a plank partition, if you ask me. Now, sometimes you'll go to place stuff down inside here, and 2 things that'll happen, it'll either pop up through the ceiling, or it just won't place at all. If that happens, you can just blueprint the individual item, and I do recommend this when you're decorating, because I accidentally got something stuck up in there that I couldn't get out, and it was not a good situation, and I don't recommend doing that. Anyway, we're putting these down first, and then I'm going to burn them, and then we're going to place walls down. And then when we have that together, it's going to give a lot of scrappy texture to the wall. Because I want this place to have kind of ghost town vibes, if that makes sense. And so I'm going to make it look very still and very abandoned, but also very junky. And so I also always build with these warehouse walls just because they're very thin. I'm going to switch these to the wood foundations. It doesn't super matter because I'm going to end up actually covering the sides of those up. But before I decided that, I put those in. Also, I tried putting these fences in. We're going to put some underpinnings on, but you can't actually snap the catwalks through those even if they're burned. So the order that you need to do it in is you need to put the underpinnings in first and then put those in. So you're going to snap a catwalk to the side, and then you can snap these half walls down, and then you can move the catwalk. It gives you a really nice underpinning, and that's going to give us a nice texture on the outside edge of the wooden foundation. I don't really like the wooden foundation because it has that weird netting and shit inside it, and it looks very video game foundation, because I've been looking at it for 5 years. It just doesn't look any good. Anyway, so I'm going to burn the hell out of these. It doesn't matter which half wall you use for this part. I just wanted to test it to see, because different half walls have different burn models, and so that's what that's all about. I did accidentally call something a texture and not a model one time, and to be honest, I wasn't used to using the word model because I'd been hanging out with your mom too much. So I didn't say the right thing. I do apologize. The words I said were wrong, and I hope that you can forgive me of my transgressions. As we move forward, I'll never say the wrong word again. Now we're going to snap downwards. In this part right here, where I'm going to put a stair, it does matter what kind of wall you use, but I'm going to use the wrong one for now because I think it's more fun to place down a half wall and then replace it with the one you want instead of digging through the walls that they shuffled up as kind of like a mini game for us to spend extra time. Oh, you don't have anything to do? Here's something. Find the wall you want. Can you find it? I'll give you a hint. You passed it 5 times. Okay? It's terrible. I think they did that as a way to kind of fuck you, you know, because we were saying too much stuff, mean stuff about them. We were like, I want to fast travel. Can I please fast travel? And they were like, fine, whatever. You know, I guess on year 4 you can fast travel. So then we could fast travel, but to get revenge for letting us fast travel, they scrambled up the walls. Anyway, if you have certain walls broken, and certain models will allow you to place the stair between them, and then we can replace it back to the shacky one that we want to look so nice. You will have to have these burned if you want to snap in the barbed wire fence, which is why I burned them, so that I could snap in, you guessed it, the barbed wire fence. I'm only going to put them there, and there, and for now, I'm going to add one later, but right now it's time to do something different because I didn't have any medication for my ADHD. So you can't place a slanty roof here, it'll intersect with a rock, and so what we're going to do is place down flat ones, make sure they flip the right way, and then we can flip them up into the rock. But make sure they're the right way first. The reason why building around existing structures like this is so hard is you can't really shove stuff into the rock surface. It doesn't want you to. It's because if we did, we'll get it stuck. So they're trying to avoid that happening. But as a result, it's very difficult to get stuff flush with it. And that's why this location is so good. It's actually pretty forgiving to work with. And I was able to get this very snug into the rock. There is some gaps, of course, but because of the way I'm designing it with some scrappiness and holes, that doesn't really matter. So if you have one of these, it'll actually snap in to the other barbed wire fence. If you don't have any barbed wire fences, that one won't snap in right there because it's actually snapping to its neighbor. And now I'm going to actually repair these and we can see what that looks like. And I'll also replace the wall types so we can get a different look. I like this destroyed wall, and I like how that tilted shingle adds a lot of character as well to the build. And yeah, I think there's just a lot of good textures here happening. And so that's good. Speaking of good textures, let's switch this out. I know you thought I was going to talk about your ribbed condoms, but unfortunately, my friend, I wasn't going to talk about your ribbed condoms. I know you were always waiting for that to come up, but speaking of cum, let's come over this way and look at the different kinds of feelings and vibes you can get with different types of walls. Now, I want to put a half wall in here, but it won't fit because of the jacked up rocks, as I mentioned before. But I was able to fit a slanty piece of wall in. So I'm going to put that in. I'm going to replace it to the destroyed wall as well. And then you can just flip this back up. And it's fine. Everything's fine. You can shove these arches into places you can't get other stuff. And then I'm just going to bury that spot. And I'm going to add some fences later to also help hem that in. There's some items that are more forgiving and will shove in to the rocks better than others, so try to use those willy-nilly. I'm going to switch this out to the one that has the fence on it because it adds just another layer of texture. See how that fence now is chunky there and not over there. And also, they gave us these fortress catwalks, which are pretty cool. They work almost exactly like catwalks. However, snapping downward from them is a little tricky sometimes, so use normal catwalks for your normal snapping downwards. I do have a sneeze cooking. I'm not going to bother. I'll think about editing that out later. Not sure yet. It's just the allergies of the season. Now I'm going to snap this over, snap it downward, and the reason I made these brick is because I didn't have like 7 years to find the half walls I wanted. You can use these or you can use the logs, and there's different textures. You can even burn these, and then you have another type of fence you could use. I'm not going to do that because I want everything to be repaired in this camp, so I don't have to worry about fixing stuff all the time and not fixing some of that. But what we're doing is I'm going to make a little planter garden over here. But before I do, I'm going to build some stuff back behind there, including the utility box generator, which I'll put down in there. And I think also to trigger a bunch of people, I'll put this bronze metal vending machine, okay? And the people that that's going to trigger are the ones telling me that they're going to build floating bases just to make me mad or whatever. Huh? What was that? Why did what? Oh, anyway, so they're going to be able to see my vending machine, and they're not going to be able to get it. Like, they probably will, but it'll be tough, you know? It'll be like those old games where you could see something you can unlock in the next level, but not yet. Anyway, this was a bitch to get in. Somehow, I was able to get in only if I snapped it like that, and then I could snap this in that way. That made no sense. That was the only way I could get it in, though. It took 40 minutes. That's what she said. Anyway, so what I'm doing is I'm seeing where these will line up. Then I'm moving the potato plants to be in the spots where they'll fit. I did have some brambles in there, which you'll need to put in last. Otherwise, you can't place potato plants into the brambles. Very strange. Some stuff, usually you want to put the brambles down first and then place items into the brambles. But for some reason with the potato plants, at least, you want to put the potato plants in, then put the brambles in after. I don't know why. It's just some stuff. There's a specific order you have to do it in, and I have absolutely no idea if there's any rhyme or reason to it, because it appears that there's not. I want this to kind of look like a little trellis? I'm making up stuff, but let's just say they're growing these potatoes in this thing is fine. Anyway, inside here, I'm going to be kind of squaring off the back corner using these rusted chain links. I'm going to turn snapping off so I can kind of shove this in, free place it in like that. That'll give the indication of something nice. Now, I'm using this technique that I have used before in a lot of different blueprints that I've shown in my videos, including this blueprint video, which I'll link in the description. But basically what it is it allows us to free place catwalks. I got this idea from another YouTuber, a Japanese YouTuber, and I believe his name is Tatsuko Onigashima or something. I could be saying that incorrectly. Anyway, I was able to learn how blueprints worked by watching his video where he floated catwalks. And from that, I was able to figure out and apply it to a bunch of different cool stuff, including the covered bridge, which you may have seen people using that in that way. But it's a really, really nice, it opens up a lot of different things that we can now do. But this fortress catwalk was just in all of our build menus. And you can just have it. So use it, enjoy it, and love it. Anyway, I couldn't get a foundation into this corner, so I built this catwalk blueprint, and even though it's red, you can shove it down and it'll go down. And I wanted the floorboards here to cover up that gap, because you can put a rug there, but I think this looks way better. And it kind of looks like there was a hole in the floor, let's board it up. I wanted to put it like so they were parallel, but it wasn't going in that way. Remember when I said I got stuff stuck? It was just my camp module. Don't worry about that. It doesn't come out. I'm not going to be able to get this out of here unless I move my camp. I couldn't get into the rock from above or below, so it's just there now. Anyway, I'm going to use this submerging on the pressure plate method, which I've used in a bunch of videos. I'm going to redo this, but I'm just showing you the method here. You're just sinking it down, dropping it down until the items are sitting on the shelf. Then you add more stuff to the top, then drop it down again. I'm going to link Nuka Violet's merge tutorial if you want to learn more about merging and you're curious how that works. This cardboard box here, by the way, is sitting in a display case. If you want to know how to get it, it is right here in the Blackwater mine. It is actually a box of shooting targets, which typically is a quest item, but pick up these caps first and ignore the people shooting at you. Anyway, just go into Blackwater mine, and then once you load in, you're going to turn to your right, and even though this is typically a quest item, the one that spawns in here, right here on this bench to the right of where you spawn in, is just sitting here. It's not a quest item. However, when you pick it up, it might start the quest, which is a daily quest. So what you're going to want to do is, just to make sure it doesn't turn into a quest item in your inventory, is you're going to go to your data tab, And then you're going to find in the dailies. And then down here, you're going to see on the bottom of your screen, there's a button to reject it. You're going to reject it, and then that gets rid of the quest, and then you have that item. Now, this doesn't need to happen, and you might still be able to use it, but if it's a quest item, you won't be able to store it. So there is a quest item version of this that you get from doing target, whatever the hell that was, environment. Anyway, what you're going to want to do if you want to put this on the shelf because it's on a display is I'm going to sink this stuff down till it's exactly 2 clicks from being on the shelf. So about right there. Because it takes about 2 clicks to get the chessboard into, like, to be hidden or whatever. So I'm going to put this on, but not the other items I want to put on the top of the shelf. So when there's 2 clicks left, so I'm not going to put that on yet. Then I'm gonna drop it down the 2 clicks needed to get everything level. So 1 more. Everything's pretty good. And then that's sitting there on the top, and I can put this toolbox up there. It's pretty good. And yes, you can see the chessboard from below a little bit. I don't think it's a huge deal, but if you do, that's something you could cry about in your own time. I don't really have the time for that right now, but I have a box of Kleenexes if you want. And it's not actually Kleenex brand, nor am I sponsored by Kleenex. It's just my grandma started calling tissues Kleenexes for some reason, and I just couldn't stop her. So as she went willy-nilly on it, I started doing it myself. Just get off my back about it. Now once you have this all merged, you can come inside and place it down, and I'm going to have to do this off camera. Another cool thing that I thought I would do is make this special lantern. So I took the brass lantern, which is a junk item, and I put it in the display, and it looks pretty cool. I'm going to drop it down twice just to get that chessboard out of there, and you can do that with like larger items where you don't mind it kind of merging in a little bit on the bottom. It's way faster and easier. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Holiday Village light post. It's from this set of all these holiday items. And first I'm going to place it down because the floor decor tab is so laggy. This is the better way to do it. Place down your floor item, then you can pick it up and move it around where you want it. I'm going to put it in there to give the light coming out of the lamp kind of vibe. I think it looks pretty nice. Well, maybe not. It looks, I don't know. It's fine. And I'm going to add some more decoration outside, so some more junk piles will be good. So I'm going to merge this thing down into this footlocker. And then I'm going to shove it around back behind the area. So once I have it down, I'm going to come over here and test where I want it. It's not down quite enough. So then I'll just keep merging a little bit. So I want this to just look like a pile of like boxes or something sitting outside. And again, I said I wanted to have like ghost town vibes or something like that. Move this bush out of the way. And I know you're probably used to doing that. But anyway, you're not going to be able to get that bush back in where you had it. So let's burn the box. So what I'm trying to say, I guess, is if you have a good handle on the box situation, then you'll be able to manipulate the bush in the way that you find to be the most pleasurable and desirable. Then you can just repair the footlocker. And then the stuff will be sitting there. I had an idea later that I want to add an end cap to the roof. So I burn the roof. Then you can snap the catwalks through the burned roof. And then you can, of course, just snap a top arch wall piece to the top of that catwalk. I'll just use whatever one I see first. And then you can, of course, replace it to the one you need. Be careful when you're getting rid of the catwalks because roofs have a massive hitbox for some reason. And then you can, of course, replace this to the one you want, as I said, which I'll use the junky wood. And then you can replace this, and it'll be the wrong one for no reason. I don't know what's going on there. But I think the end cap looks pretty good. Kind of boxes it in more. Here's an easy thing. I just put those 2 items down and then merged it twice. You have a pot, and then you have another pot. Isn't that great? Just a bunch of pot in the cave. And, yeah, that's fine. I just move stuff around. And then here's another merge quickly. The tannery bench. That's a bench that you tannery stuff on, I guess. I don't know what's going on. Okay, it's just... Well, I saw that they were... Anyway, you can also just burn stuff and place it through there. Either are fine. They both work fine. It just depends on which one is easier for you to do. Some stuff is harder to burn depending on how high or low it is into the ground. This is the door I have, but it's pretty open, you know, and it doesn't give you that feeling of, first of all, privacy, but also scary. So open the door, put this curtain on the inside. Now you have some kind of cool, nasty vibes going on, you know, gross, abandoned feeling. Like, that is classic. I think this combo of this door with this curtain looks really good. You will need to close the curtain and then the door. It's a little tricky and cumbersome the way it interacts and opens, but doesn't that look so good when it's closed? I think it does. I think it looks like fucking hell. Shit, yeah, what the hell? Anyway, you can't place anything in this if it's broken. And I want to put the scrap box in here because I hate it. It's ugly as fuck, and I think I can hide it if it's inside this mine thing, which again, I'm not powering up because I want it to look like it's a place that's not being used anymore. If you have this burned, though, you can snap this into it, because it snaps. If this didn't snap, you probably wouldn't be able to place this through the burned scrap box, but snapping items will snap into burned stuff a lot easier than non-snapping items. So now we have this here as our scrap box. We have all the things we need in this camp, just I don't want them to look like shit. So let's look at the finished product. I'm really happy with how this camp turned out. I wasn't even planning on building here. I started working on another area, and then it wasn't working out, and so I just started wandering around, and I remembered Fallout McFly's video, which again I'm going to link in the description, and I was like, I want to go look at that cave, and I saw it, and I knew immediately that I wanted to build here, and as I started building, I just started adjusting what I was building to fit the vibes of what was happening, and I really, really like how it turned out. I love those new bushes they gave us in the Atom Shop, and I think that really has helped with the overgrown feeling I'm going for. But again, I want that, like, ghost town vibes of, like, it's overgrown, and then there's also this, like, industrial but forgotten feel to it. Like, that's why I like the extractor that's not running. It's like an old oil pump or something that's not working anymore. And then we have, like, overgrown garden. You have the vending machine that someone in power armor is going to be mad because he can't get at. And I hid the ammo storage box here. I actually merged it down into this cooler, and then I just placed it on the ground somewhere where it would make a little bit of sense, which I thought would be near the water pump here. So I do have the ammo box and the scrap box in this build. You just can't visually see them, and they don't look like shit as much. I like to hide them because they don't look like anything I ever want to build. So we have some details here. That hand is a good one. Yeah, it's just, I want it to feel like there was, like, maybe they store stuff on the porch. So there's, like, stuff that's pushed out of the way so you can walk through there. But it's kind of a mess. But you have all the stuff that they would need and maybe all the stuff they don't need anymore. I want it to feel kind of dusty, and maybe, like, the floorboards might be a little rotty. I think the door looks so good. I mean, I think it really just gives you that feeling that I was trying to go for. So as you walk in, I did decorate it to be a little cozier than the outside would suggest. I put some mismatched chairs. I'm using a bench as a little coffee table. But I want it to feel like we're using it. I made this custom light by putting that into there. I don't know if you guys think that's a cool idea or not. You can tell me in the comments how stupid that is. I don't know. And then there's just the weird lighting going on over here, I noticed. And that's just from the cave. I thought maybe it was from this, because that does have a light on it. But I went back and looked at the footage, and there's actually this glowing weirdness over here before I started building. So it's just some places on the map are weird, and the lighting's weird at certain times of day, especially underneath rocks and underneath, like, under the ground. It's really bad. The lighting in the game in general needs to be looked at and fixed. And if you're a developer at Bethesda Gaming Studios and you're watching this video because you have some kind of self-harming issues, please seek therapy. But also, can you please fix the lighting, because I want to play the game and it looks like shit. I switched those lights around to show you that, like, maybe a little bit of warm lights will help with the weird ghastly glow, but it's not going to cut it. It's going to be there still, unfortunately. And it does suck, the big one. Anyway, I do love, though, that I can't get my camp module Luckily, I didn't need to reverse merge anything, because that's the only thing that can, like, really, you know, effectively do it. There are other ways, but it's way harder. Over here, we have a pile of junk shoved into the wall. There's our little lantern we made. Also, I burned the bed and then placed those 2 items there. Like I said before, sometimes it's easier to burn stuff, and sometimes it's easier to merge it. It depends on what it is. This one was just way easier to merge it. I mean, to burn it. This also is this weird situation going on. I just have, like, some... It looks like they're like a scientist or something. Like, they're doing some kind of experiments, but kind of like elementary ones. They're not, like, going nutty on it. And then we have the cool pile of stuff on the shelf. I think that looks really good, and it kind of sets the crafting area or the workshop area apart from the rest of the build. So it kind of... also, you can't use this because of the chair. You can... I'm going to move that chair. Don't worry about it. I'll put it somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, I think this looks good. As I said, you can see the chessboard a little bit. So it does... You know, some people might not like that. You might want to put it somewhere else, maybe lower on a shelf. But it's a little more tricky to do it that way because of the merging and stuff. Over here, we have, of course... I put the weather station in here because it kept getting struck by lightning, and also to hide it a little bit. And then we have the thing that's powering all our lights... the generator, and but I don't know, I really like just the whole vibe of this area. I love the little cave thing. It was actually very, very fun to build in, and usually caves are angry to build in because there's always stuff getting in the way. But this one is really forgiving, and I do recommend it if you want to build a cave camp. This is a good starter one because you just have to build like the front wall. And making a junky vibe is the easiest way to do it, because then if there's like gaps or holes, it's not really super noticeable. Like if you try to make this clean, it would be harder. But also, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, consider subscribing. It really helps the channel out. But I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my patrons and channel members for your support. It really does make a huge difference in my life, and sometimes I can just dance and with giddy joy at the idea of it. There's sometimes additional stuff on there, but I'll see you guys in the next video.